Hello everyone and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're checking out From Under the Rock. I have no idea how to classify this. I don't even want to try, honestly. This is some kind of game. Yeah. Seems to be some very interesting monochrome black and white style vectory looking graphics with some fractal trees or something. I can steer myself around with WASD and there seems to be a colorful yellow triangle here, which obviously stands out quite a bit. I am testing out all the buttons here, just in case any of them do anything particularly phenomenal. I'm thinking maybe not. Okay. That's something. I guess walking up to that wall made that happen. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I mean, so far I'm rather intrigued, but I have absolutely no insight as to what anything means yet. Usually that's a good sign, though. That means that I am interested, and I kind of like what's going on with this crazy art style. So clearly this little red cube here is going to do something for us. Let's check that out. Alright, we got the red cube. That appeared to have triggered some sort of a sound. Now, normally I do a little bit of research on these games before I start them up, and by a little bit I mean like I usually check out a little bit about the developers, see what other games they've made, see if there's anything noteworthy in particular about the design ethos, any competitions this was entered in. With this game in particular, I didn't do any of that. I actually just opened up my indie game folder of my stockpile of all the random games that I have, and I just decided today I'm going to play this one. So I'm coming at this one about as blind as you can get, aside from seeing the first room for about 10 seconds before I started recording. Okay, we got a red cube. Maybe we're introducing something to this little bits at a time. You know, getting the red cube is now a step before walking to the yellow triangle. So this inverted cityscape here, I shouldn't say inverted, but, you know, it's coming off the wall. Oh. You hear that? It might be awfully quiet, but there's a record skipping sound coming from something. Can I walk into all the walls, or is it only to the one with the yellow triangle? Oh, alright, that's something. We can walk into all the walls. So now I'm starting to wonder, is this game something like Cube? That movie where you had to figure out your way out of this ginormous mathematical puzzle featuring tons of horrific death traps, and if you haven't watched that movie, it's quite outstanding, as long as you have the stomach for it. Not sure if there's going to be horrific death traps. Whoa. Oh, it's rotating. Okay, I couldn't tell for a moment. Are the cubes also changing in size, or is that just a byproduct of them rotating? It might be perspective. That's messing with my head. No, they're definitely getting bigger. So is this one of those interactive art show type games? I mean, so far I can't really still come up with a whole lot to compare it to. The one thing that does come to mind, and I don't know how accurate this is actually going to be because I still haven't played it yet, but Antechamber, which is one of my most anticipated indie games in quite a while, and hopefully we should be playing that very soon on the channel, actually. I did secure myself a review copy of that, so we will be checking that out. So the sound effects are still going crazy. Let's try a little bit of a different order here. I don't know if we can even win, or if there are win conditions, or if I'm just going to be wandering endlessly. We've got some synth now. I have to say, I'm still very intrigued by this. I have not been put off at all yet. Ooh. Things are getting a little intense. Is this the same room? I think I've just gone in a circle. The same room, I mean the original room where I started. I also usually in these types of videos where I have very little to grab onto as far as references, I also like to look at how the name relates to the game. From Under the Rock. I'm not even sure where to go with that either. This is one of those cases where almost nothing about it seems referential. I'm starting to think, though, that our goal is to collect all of the red cubes and then find the appropriate room to escape. So far, it seems like we're doing fairly well on our mission. I wish our guy walked a little faster. I'm holding shift just in case, and there is no sprint as far as I can tell. Holding shift, holding spacebar. No, none of that does anything. What's up with all the geometry? Are there implications to be made by the geometry? Oh, this room's cool. This room seems to be frozen in time. That's a very cool effect with those very delicate lines everywhere. We got a red cube for this level. Now what happens if I move through the yellow triangle room? I wish it wasn't a triangle though, because it sort of makes the wall look like a silly face, like a snowman or something. Maybe that's just me. Let's see what's over here. More trees. Alright. Now what happens if I just go back through the same way I just came? Do I actually go to the same room? I do. Alright, so there is actually a structure to these rooms, which does lead me to believe that maybe we can win. What a nebulous thing, right? I'm trying to construct some sort of geometric structure to form like a framework for me to believe that I can win this game that I don't understand what I'm doing. I'm like 5 steps away from, or removed from normal gameplay as far as I know it. Very interesting atmospheric background sound as well. I'm still enjoying hearing that. I don't have a good way of mapping where I've been though. I feel like this is going to end up being one of those, what is it, like in the original Metal Gear puzzles? Or didn't it also happen in Zelda? Oh, here's a new room. Or you just have to figure out what the right order of rooms to go through happens to be. I like this room. This is cool. You got gears. Now I wonder if I get all of the red cubes though, am I going to know if I won, or am I going to still have to go somewhere else after that? The mysteries, they are rife for interpretation. Oh man, I don't want to go that way. I'm thinking though, with the amount of times that have come back to the same rooms, I'm probably getting close to seeing all of them. And then I can go back under the rock I came out from under. Oh, this is a cool room too. Whoa! That's really pretty. It's snowflakes in reverse. That's amazing how simple this is, yet still very cool. Oh, wasn't expecting that. I hope they don't want to kill me. This is reminding me also a little bit of that game, I think it's called Red Alert for the Virtual Boy, and I know you don't hear a lot of Virtual Boy references on your regularly scheduled YouTube programming, but for those of you who are not familiar, it was a vector-based 3D space shooter, essentially. Oh, another pretty room. And it actually had pretty good 3D depth effects, and in fact I think it was probably my favorite Virtual Boy game, and yes, I did own a Virtual Boy. I had most of the games, and the library was extremely small, so that wasn't hard to do, but I didn't own Waterworld, thankfully. But I had like the Mario game, there was a Tellero Boxer, and there was, my other favorite one was Panic Bomber, which I still want to play an updated version of, because it was an outstanding puzzle game, which I'm not going to try and describe to you guys. That is a really cool pattern, I have to say. The way it's intersecting in itself like that. I actually can't quite get a good grasp on what the structure of this shape is. I guess it's a cone made up of flat discs. Something like that. So I guess the quickest and easiest way to summarize, I'm going to try anyway, this gameplay is we're in a very abstract, esoteric Zelda dungeon filled with geometry, and it doesn't seem to want us dead for once, which is a nice feeling. And that is a lovely cube at the bottom of this terrain map. Having messed around with 3D programs enough to see a few of these, it's like kind of interesting that they're using them, or that the developer is using them in this way. Because actually it doesn't feel that weird. I mean, they actually make a lot of sense. And it's creating some really interesting art. Nothing is so simple that it feels like they just said, hey, let's just slap this primitive object in the middle of the room and call it a day. This is probably the closest thing to that, I would say, just since it's a terrain map. They probably just had a brush and just, you know, stamped this down into the middle a little bit. But the animations on some of these objects are quite cool looking. Alright, we got trees again. I feel like I'm getting close to having exhausted, wow, most of my options here. Did I come in from the yellow triangle? I'm not sure. That's our only chance for perspective here, is having that. And I guess that's why that's there. Oh, this is a totally different tree room I haven't seen yet. This one doesn't appear to have any cubes, though. This one's even more fractally than the other one. Alright. Intense synth music, calm down. Nobody's getting too scared here. I would have liked to have heard the music be a little bit more themed to each room, because I think that would lend a lot of atmosphere to it. No, I don't want to go back out. Let's go back to the fractal trees. Let's go to the right. Relatively speaking, to the right. I mean, it's so simple. There's so little going on, but at the same time, it still seems somewhat substantial. And it's held my interest longer than I expected it to, actually. When I saw that first room, I was like, oh, please tell me this isn't the whole game. It's like, we're going to take a tour of a box with some trees? No, there's more to it than that. I have no problem with wireframes. Oh, what's going on in here? No, not the bees. I don't know what those are. A long time ago, I did a game called This Is How Bees Work. That episode never actually got uploaded, unfortunately, because the recording of it got kind of screwed up. But that is sort of what that game looked like. The whole game was essentially you drove a cloud around and you planted flowers by raining on the ground, and then the bees would swarm around the flowers and then a forest would grow up around it. It was kind of interesting, but there was not very much to talk about, unfortunately. And yet I still think I managed to make like a 15-minute video out of it. I don't know how I do that. I just get talking and stuff just goes. Alright, I don't know, man. I'm running out of options here. I feel like I've seen most of the rooms. There's got to be one more. Maybe two more. I wish I was a little faster. Yeah, now I'm like all the way back at the beginning, I think. Maybe, no, this is like the second tree room I think I found. I shouldn't have started by going through only the arrow rooms. I might have to actually make a map for, you know, the sake of figuring out every single possible combination. Oh, here's something new. We've got ribbons of squigglies, I guess. Not sure what to make of them. I kind of don't like the way they're intersecting with the floor. Oh, I think we won. I was correct. We did, in fact, win. And that was the end of the game, and, you know, as is so often the case, we actually just got dumped out onto the desktop, which, you know, that's fine. We saw everything there was to see at this point. I would have preferred to go back to some kind of menu, maybe, but whatever. We saw everything. So I feel quite contented on this one. We did a full play of From Under the Rock. That's my unintentional catchphrase, you know. RockLeeSmile's channel, the home of the unintentional, full play, abstract, randomized, first-person indie game. You never know what's going to happen. Anyway, I think this was a really cool game artistically. I mean, granted, the content could have used a little bit more, but at the same time, I actually really enjoyed just walking around. And the challenge was a little bit randomized. I mean, the challenge was just finding your way through this. But at the same time, it's one of those tasks that's like, you could never really replicate this in reality. Unless maybe if you had some kind of crazy, like, gallery space full of all white rooms that are connected in some weird way. That could be a whole different project. But something that I cannot undertake, being, you know, not a gallery owner, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, this was a cool game. I would recommend giving this a download if you have a friend you'd like to show this to. Now that you've seen all of it, I mean, really the only thing that's left for you is just to see these rooms again, and, you know, if you really like the inverse plus-shaped snowflake level, maybe you might want to go look at that again, but, you know, it's a cool bunch of little experiments tied together, and I think we've done much worse in the past, and yeah, we'll probably do better too, but yeah, it was a fun little experiment. It was fun to walk around in, and I hope you enjoyed our little brief time together in this one. So that was From Under a Rock. Download links will be in the description as always, and please, also as always, make sure you head on over to the website, www.indie-impressions.com. Check out all the videos, old and new. They are sorted by distribution method, tagged by genre, You can see pretty much everything I've ever done on the channel and sort through it by, also developers as well. And we also do have forums over there on the website, so feel free to go say hi on one of the threads, start a conversation, meet some cool people. You never know what's going to happen. There's a bunch of developers that hang out there as well, which is great, and we can have some cool discussions. But when you're done with the website, facebook.com/indieimpressions might be your next stop, and if you do want to make it your next stop, please leave a like on there, and you'll get every day's new video delivered right into your Facebook feed. Makes it nice and convenient for you, that way you don't have to come looking for them, and then you'll get all the news updates and the occasional contests that I run on the site. It does help me out, and, takes 3 seconds to do it if you want, but, I'm not going to spam your Facebook feed either, so don't worry about that. And lastly, if you'd like to leave any comments, questions, criticisms, or suggestions that either don't fit in the YouTube comment box or you want to talk to me directly, quickest way to get my attention is to Twitter, or tweet at me over at RockLeeSmile. I also do have a contact form on the website, and I take PMs via Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter. So whatever's good for you is good for me. I am not particularly picky. And if you're an indie developer and you want to send me over your game for a possible video, please get in contact with me. I'm always interested in hearing what you have to say. So that is going to wrap us up for From Under a Rock. It's difficult to string lots of those certain words together sometimes. And I hope you did enjoy it. And like I said before, all the links are going to be right in the description, so feel free to check around in there. I've got all kinds of stuff in the description every single day, so if you've neglected to click on that little show more button, that might be a good idea, but that is up to you, of course. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a lovely night, and please come back again tomorrow for another awesome indie game. Later.